Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dominic Cotroneo, Brewers postgame host on 620 WTMJ. When I saw this play today, Sunday, as I sit here and record this, I knew I'm way overdue for a deep dive on Blake Perkins. You may know about the play I'm talking about.
And Nootbaar to center field. Perkins giving it a run. Still back. Perkins leaps. He got it! Blake Perkins just saved a 3-run homer. Everybody tags and moves up 90 feet, but Perkins.
I mean, the reaction right here from Nootbaar tells you everything you need to know. How did he make that play? Save the game. Brewers only scored 2 runs. That would have been a 3-run shot in the first inning going up against Sonny Gray with what he had. He's had one incredible week. Really great start to the season for Blake Perkins. But this video is all about his defense the last 2 years. Maybe the eye test doesn't explain everything that happens. He is a quote-unquote Statcast darling. And the best part is everything he does looks under control. One thing you'll notice about all of these plays that I'm about to show you, he's under control. He doesn't need to leave his feet, which makes it more impressive because he's getting the balls that, quite frankly, look routine that aren't routine in the slightest. So let's start jumping into it. Let me start here on the Baseball Savant outfielder jump leaderboard, and let me try to explain what this graphic is telling you. Let's go to this graphic, okay? If you're an outfielder and how you react to a ball in play. Your jump is all of these things put together. Your total feet covered in the correct direction. More on that in a moment. The first second and a half, your reaction is how many feet do you cover as soon as the ball is hit? Did you read it well off the bat? Your burst is your fastest sprint to get onto your route as you continue to read the baseball. That's over the next second and a half to get us to 3 seconds. Your route is your total feet covered against a direct route. So as this explains here, if you draw a straight line to where you need to be, that's what you're supposed to be. That's what a perfect route would be, right? But we're humans. We have to read the baseball. We have to understand the spin and the conditions and things like that. Nobody is going to pretty much ever run a 100% route. So, of course, the closest to 100% you can get, the better. When we go to this is 2024's setup of feet saved or lost on outfield plays due to reaction. You just see a bunch of dots here. But as I scroll and I see the actual raw numbers, there's our man Blake Perkins. Now, this does not include Sunday's catch. He's made 2 outs above average. But a big reason for that is his jump. He's getting almost 3.5 feet, more than 3.5 feet sometimes, on average, more than league average in his overall jump. And 3 feet can be the difference of making the play or not. So let's find our man here on this chart. He's right in here. 2 outs above average on 2-star plays or better. He hasn't had many big opportunities so far this year. We showed one earlier in our first Statcast breakdown of one he made on opening weekend against the Mets. But obviously he's on the right side of the average, the league average line. He doesn't take the most direct routes because the higher you are, the most direct you are. So that's where we see him being at 0. But quick reactions and direct routes are the further right you are. And he's doing just fine in the early portion of the season. But I can go a little bit deeper than you guys can. Let me get into my Statcast portal here, and I can look at all of the plays. These are over the last 2 years that he has made based on catch probability. Catch probability is not a perfect stat, but it does a pretty darn good job. So the best play he has made, these are only putouts. I'm not including any hits in here. The best catch he's made in his last year plus was a 15% catch probability against the Cleveland Guardians. Let's see if you remember this one.
So throwing in those days.
2-2, hit to left. Perkins got a good jump on it. Perkins is there to make the catch and send this game to the 10th.
Remember when I told you how he makes plays that look easy or that he doesn't ever leave his feet? So that ball's crushed. Devin thinks it's, man, I'm in trouble here. Perfect read, wall breaking down on him. No problem. Let's dive into the numbers now, shall we? His burst, okay? This is where the stuff really starts to pop off. He had 34 feet, nearly 34 feet covered in a second and a half once he read the direction he had to go. Obviously, you don't maintain that sprint speed. But at one point, he moved nearly 34 feet in a second and a half after he made the initial read. That's elite. Then his first step was in a quarter of a second. A quarter of a second. Think about how fast it is. Try to stop your phone on .27 on the stopwatch. That's how fast he made the read playing left field. His jump total in feet. So in those first 3 seconds from a dead stop, he covered 39 feet. Super elite. And finally, his route efficiency, 97%. That's how you make a catch like that without having to leave your feet. Let's look at another one.
He's with 4 homers as Rosario goes to left center. Perkins on the warning track has a beat on it. And the inning is over.
I mean, this one he had a read on right off the bat. I mean, thank goodness for the high angle in Atlanta. Already gone. He was pretty much in center field. Sizing up the wall. Always tough in road ballparks. Again, stayed on his feet. Perfect read. No big deal at all. He had a 20% catch probability. Again, his burst nearly 33 feet, 32.7. Once again, a great first step reaction at a quarter of a second. His jump overall was about 37 feet. Route efficiency right on the money again at 98%. Let's look at this 30% catch now.
With a scoreless 7th. De La Cruz flips one to right. Perkins just in the game makes the catch.
And you heard the key word there from Jeff Levering, that he just got into the game as a defensive replacement. In fact, it's actually being shown right here on the scorebug from Bally. That makes me chuckle. You can barely tell because it's fuzzy, but he's already breaking in. He made the initial reaction ASAP. That was the only way he was going to be able to get to that ball without leaving his feet. A lot of right fielders are going to leave their feet on this play and try to make a diving catch. Maybe not for Elly De La Cruz, but in this type of fly ball. You could see him preparing to get low like he needs to dive for it. Watch his body here. He's giving it one last burst, and then he realized, oh, no, I can make this standing up. No problem at all. Back to the numbers now. 30%. His burst was 34 feet coming in. Very impressive. His fastest reaction that we've seen so far for his first step. Jump was right on line with the others at almost 39 feet, just like the first one we talked about. And again, a nearly perfect route at 98%. And part of the reason some of these catch probabilities aren't very low and he's made so many plays is because of his sprint speed and how fast he is actually able to go. So we can be here in Blake Perkins' player page, right? We can see his standard hitting stuff, but we can go to his fielding page now. We see his run value last year defensively was a +8. That's elite. 7 outs above average across all 3 outfield positions. That's elite as well. And remember, he only played about half the season. Now we can scroll down, see his starting depth. More on that a little bit later. But here are all the plays he's responsible for in 2024. Whereas when you look at the sprint speed range that we have here, this would be a 5-star catch. Okay? Anything in this ring right here, anything outside of here says, hey, he can, mathematically, he could get there. But in all likelihood, it's probably not going to happen. So as long as you're getting outs in these first 2 rings, you're doing something right. If you're getting outs in this next ring, you're really, really a freak. But here are some plays, that's no big deal. 2-star play, let's go ahead and try to find that one, right? An 85% catch probability. We can go back up here to this one. 2-star catch. I think we found our man right here.
Encarnacion Strand to center.
See, he was already playing deep on that one, and it's routine. No big deal on a muggy night in Cincinnati. So Perkins, you can see it visualized. You know he's a great defender. But let me look at it based on league average here, and let me go back to the leaderboards, and let's go ahead and go to fielder positioning. These are the players that, on average, start the deepest in baseball. Travis Jankowski starts on average 331 feet deep in center field. That's pretty deep. And an adage to remember about center field, and Andrew Jones kind of exposed this to all of us as the best defensive center fielder of all time. Center fielders who are able to play shallow and have confidence going back on the baseball tend to be better range, better regarded center fielders because they have that ability to go back on a baseball and they want to steal hits in front of them on those dying quails, on those stoinks, on those gorks, in the words of Pat Murphy. It's not a bad thing if you don't play shallow, but it's something to note if you play deep. So Jankowski, not regarded as a great center fielder. Vidal Brujan, same. Parker Meadows, same. A lot of these guys lack speed, so they need as much time as they can to get to the ball. Let me scroll down here. you'll see Blake Perkins is at 323. That's only 8 feet more shallow than the guy who's playing the deepest. What gives, Dom? Well, let's go ahead and look at the league average. League average is 320 for depth of a center fielder this year. Perkins is at 323, so he plays a step deeper than usual. Maybe he feels more confident going in on a baseball than he does going back, so he wants that step, but that's not statistically significant to say, oh my gosh, red alert, look out. Whereas you look at the guys that are playing the most shallow in baseball, so Alec Thomas, one of the fastest guys, 305. And ballparks might have something to do with this too based on their playing, so we need this sample size to be as large as possible. With all of that being said, knowing that he plays pretty much a league average depth, let's go ahead and watch a couple more plays here. Let me look at the highest burst that he had, and that's one that we saw this season actually already in opening weekend. This was a great play, and I pointed it out in our first video of why it was a great play.
1-2. Liner, left center. Perkins got a good jump on it for out number 2.
I mean, Levering called it out. Jeff said so, got a good jump on it, and with the ball tailing away from you, hit pretty well at 99 going in and probably at least that much going out. He's reading it perfectly as soon as that ball is hit. And again, we look at the numbers on that play. He sprinted 35 feet when you start that stopwatch from 1.6 to 3.0. He covered 35 feet in a second and a half. Wow. The overall jump was 42 feet in the first 3 seconds. From 0 to 42 in 3 seconds, reading a baseball. But Blake Perkins, he has been so fun to watch. Every Little League center fielder should watch how he does it, how he prepares for every pitch. Big fan of what we've seen from Perkins so far. And it helps that he's hitting like over 350 right now, and he has scored a few runs this weekend against the Cardinals. Thank you to everybody who listened over the weekend. Can't wait to bring you more this week against the Pirates, and for everybody who enjoys these videos here on YouTube. I want to keep making them. I love sharing, being a nerd with everybody that enjoys it. So like, subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll make sure to keep trying to do this as much as I can throughout the season. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, leave a comment what you want to see next, and until next time, keep on swinging.